Okay, so let's talk about this whole synthetic identity thing. So the way you had described it, I guess that if you have somebody who's less than 12 months old, like a child, a baby that's less than a year old, you could go get a social security number for this person without actually being present at the social security office.
Right. What I did was I started calling Social Security Administration over and over again. And I just started, social engineering. You just start asking this different people different questions till you figure out if there's some kind of an issue. And eventually I figured out that if I came in with a birth certificate and a shot record to a child that didn't have a social security number in the system, they would issue it. The kid's over 12 months old, you got to come in with the kid. I don't have an 18-month-old child. So I came up with a shot record for like a 10-month-old child and a birth certificate for a 10-month-old child. I just had to manufacture the birth certificate and shot record. I could put any name I wanted on it, go to Social Security, tell them my child had been born with a midwife at home. Here's the birth certificate. Here's the shot record. They check the system. Kid's not in the system. They issue you a Social Security number. I take the Social Security number. I then go apply for several credit cards. That created a credit profile. I then get 3 secured credit cards in the name of that child. I don't say he's 10 months old. I say he's 30 or 33 or 34, whatever. If you make the minimum payments, 6 months later, the credit system generates credit scores. Now suddenly you have credit scores. So if you pulled that person, if you went and applied for a credit card or a car loan or a bank mortgage, it showed that this child was 30 years old, had 700 plus credit scores, and 3 credit cards on a Social Security number that was issued 6 months ago.
Right. And then you go ahead and create fake income statements.
Right, which I'd already been doing.
Yeah, which you've been doing already. And then you could start buying houses on this 6-month-old baby's name, essentially.
Right. Provided you can have the down payment, you can obviously qualify for the loan, and somebody has to show up. Somebody has to show up and sign for that person. I had been closing loans with so many title companies. My mortgage company was still in existence. We had a lot of the title companies would just give you the package. So I would show up, or a broker or someone would show up and say, hey, got this loan to close, but the guy's at work right now. Can I drive it to his work? And they'd say, yeah, sure, no problem. Because they've closed so many loans with you over the years, they trust you. You take the package, you go sit in your car, you sign it, you come back 30 minutes later and say, here you go.
Right. And then after you have this house, then you start taking second, third, fourth, and fifth loans, second mortgages on that house.
No, that didn't happen until later. What I initially did was I'd buy the house for, let's say, 40, record the value of the house at 90. And then what I would do is, and I'd do 5 of these houses. So I got one guy's got 5 houses, another guy's got 5 houses, another guy has 6 houses, another guy has 5 houses, 4 houses, whatever. So Ybor City and Tampa Heights, the values are shooting up through the roof. So this guy just bought a house. Let's say Brandon Green just bought a house for whatever, 50 grand, 60 grand. I get the house I record the sales price of the house at 200 and something thousand. So now I apply for a loan. I have an appraiser come out and he appraises the house at $230,000, let's say, because there's comparable sales all over the neighborhood. So he thinks it's worth 230, even though I bought it for 50. Does that make sense? So the bank lends me $190,000 on a house that's really worth 50. So I walk away with $140,000, make a few payments, let the house go into foreclosure. The bank takes the house back. They don't understand what happened. They put it on the MLS. They get a realtor. They put it back on the MLS. It sits on the MLS for 6 months. They're trying to sell it for $190. They can't. It drops to $150. They can't. It drops to $100. They can't. It drops to back to $160, $170. Bam, somebody buys it. They just lost $100,000. They don't even understand how. Even if they send their own appraiser out to do a new appraisal, he's going to say it's worth $230,000 because the comparable sales are everywhere.